Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be talking about the announced loot drop rates, which we talked about. I think has been discussed in multiple state of the game transmissions, even from the reveal of New York, where the developers have said that loot drops will now be of more quality than quantity and more relevance. And I think this has kind of got some people in the community a little concerned, and so I wanted to make a video discussing what I think this is going to be implemented as. Now, before I jump into the video, I noticed that about 78% of the audience that watches the videos here are not subscribed, and so our goal is to try to get that to about 50%. So if you haven't subscribed yet, I implore you to please go ahead and join the Gaming Daddy community and hit the subscribe button. All right, let's jump into the video. I guess one of the things about loot drops is in the Division 2 currently, they are excessive, and it gets to a point where you just don't really know what's going to work, and you know that you can hardly attain certain numbers and certain stats, and you just basically just stop paying attention to your loot drops. I remember one of my video footage that I was actually using for one of my commentary videos, because for my commentary videos I don't do too much editing, but for my tutorials, that's where I try to put in and put pointers there and try to edit specific things. But it was just a video where I was just running and just playing around, and somebody said, "Why are you ignoring all your loot? You don't seem like you're even paying attention to them." And the truth is, I usually hoard my gear. That character was full, but even if that character wasn't full, I usually just pick up everything, and I don't have time to read that stuff that I'm picking up. And so that's pretty much, how I look at it. Some people even say they don't even look at their gear anymore once they've had their build, because the game on RNG is just right now in a place where it's bad because stuff is too much, and yet almost all of it is junky. They just don't pay attention anymore. If they want to build, they'll just target farm what they want. If they find something that they like, then sure. And then also you had the situation of the vendors back in the day, the clan vendors, low-level clan vendors, that were selling some of the best items, some armor pieces that you can't get anymore currently in the game. So if you didn't buy it then, you won't be able to see rolls like that, if you understand what I mean. Skill power, rolls, all that stuff. And so there's kind of been a convolution of the entire, stats and attributes game that is just all over the place. And so now what we're going to be seeing in year 2 is, according to Frederick Thailander, you're going to be seeing these things actually show up and highlight. Not just Frederick, I think some of the other designers, I can't remember the young lady's name. She was on the stream afterwards, and she was saying that you're going to be seeing things in a different light. So if something drops for you, if a particular item drops in terms of your gear, you're going to see if that item is actually better than what you already have in your library, or you're going to be able to tell if it's not good enough, and you can just abandon it and not talk about it or touch it. And also, if people are worried about them being able to get loot, I don't think we are, I don't think we should be worried about that, because we have targeted loot currently in the map. There are content creators who take the time to make targeted loot videos. I can't remember the name of one of the content creators. He posted on his community page. So if you watch Division videos, you have probably run across this, but I do know that Shadow Gaming makes a dedicated video for it pretty much almost every day that the change takes place. So that's going to be a very valuable resource. I think much more valuable than we've actually paid attention to, because if you're farming something and it's in an area that you'd like to play, then it's nice to know about that. So I think that's where loot's going to go to. I think loot's going to receive more relevance, and loot's going to receive more weight if what they're saying is how it's going to be implemented. And then you also got to think about the nature of stats right now, because that's what you're going to be basically farming to fill up your library so that you can recalibrate and all that stuff. And I think recalibration is probably going to have a cost associated with it. So whatever the cost associated with recalibration is, you probably want to keep an eye on gaining or attaining the materials, or attaining the gear, attaining whatever, in order to be able to receive that. So when you go to New York, maybe your 500 gear, many people are, not talking about that. But maybe your 500 gear, you'll probably go ahead and have to sell a whole bunch of it to hang on to some more credits, if credits will be used as a recalibration currency. And maybe you'll be wanting to farm and, you know, fill up your stash or your character with all the resources necessary, electronics and all that stuff. I don't really know exactly how recalibration will work. We haven't seen anything about you know, what a recalibration, well, maybe we have, but I don't remember seeing anything about a recalibration library and anything about how recalibration would work. So for those who may be worried about loot drops, I think it's going to be fine in a sense, because, you know, if you want a chess piece, you go in and you get yourself a chess piece of the brand that you want. If you're doing missions in that area, you're probably going to be getting, you know, loot dropping in terms of that. And your job is just to find loot that's relevant to you, if you understand what I mean. And once you already have a stat in the library, that stat is, you know, you can use that stat across all your gear. So if you have maybe 16%, I don't know, or maybe 30, I don't know what it's going to be, but I'm just throwing an arbitrary number out there. Maybe you have 35% weapon damage for chess pieces. If that's already in your library, then, you know, if you find a chess piece and you're like, well, I want weapon damage on this chess piece, well, go back to the base of operations, recalibrate that on your chess piece, and you're good to go. And then, you know, there are also other brands that have core, you know, attributes to them as well. Their core attributes could be a blue core, could be a utility core. When I say blue core, I mean stamina, or what we call, you know, our blues, or they could be a damage core. I mean, if you guys remember, even in that post game, I think it's Bruce Kelly, one of the other designers. He also showed the, you know, the little image that had 3 different brand sets on there, and I think Fenris was one of them, and I think Wyvern was also one of them as well. So if you see the structure of the brands right now, then I think that makes a whole lot of sense. And then when it comes to gear sets, one of the really interesting things too is, you know, our library and even our weapons are going to be able to get, you know, level 40, except our exotics. They'll be able to scale with us. And so you can just go and craft a whole lot of items. If you think about all the blueprints that you already got, if you've already gotten all your gear and even the blueprints from the raid, you can just go ahead and, like, you know, craft those items for yourself just to have something preliminary until you find exactly what you want. So loot drops are, you know, sure, going to be somewhat reduced, but also take note that you have a crafting station that's going to scale to level 40 as you scale to level 40. So you can pretty much go build a lot of the, you know, items that you know, already are running currently, if you're not getting stuff, or if you don't want to, you know, go out there and get stuff first and you want to be strong while you're out there, while you're min-maxing, you could just craft in your library or your base of operations, depending on what they're going to have, you know, in New York, and you can get yourself your 4-piece. If you, those of you who run Hardwired, because a lot of people are still going to be running it. I saw a video that Jet Force did, and I was just reading comments real quick. I haven't necessarily watched it. And a lot of people are already talking about how they're going to be running Hardwire. Some people are talking about how they're going to be, you know, running Striker. We may be getting blueprints for something like that. I hope we do. And even system corruption. So if we get blueprints for those, then those are the things that you're probably going to be hunting, rather than, you know, just spending too much time on trying to get, you know, specific, you know, system corruption or striker pieces. Now, if they don't have blueprints, then I guess that will be, you know, those gear sets in the loot pool that don't. So if you've not played the raid right now, if you're, you know, if you've not done the rotation on the raids and you have multiple characters and you haven't gotten your blueprints, I would say that would probably be the one thing that you should be targeting right now. And I know it's difficult to find groups, but you can join a Discord. There's a Gamey Daddy Discord. You can check the link in just here on my channel. Actually, I've actually updated it to have the Discord link added to it. There are other Discord groups that if you maybe put out a, you know, a notification here, depending on your platform, people can invite you to their Discord groups and you guys can farm the raid, and you do get guaranteed blueprints per run. Like, you're not going to get all 6 of them. I think you're going to get maybe 1 or 2, and then you're going to get materials every time you're done with it. And if you have multiple characters, you can play the raid multiple times with them and possibly farm, you know, for all the blueprints that you have, if your blueprints are shared. So regarding loot drops, I wouldn't be too worried about it. I think maybe in the case of exotics might be a little bit of concern because of the drop rates, but we wouldn't know until we get the patch. And weapons too may also receive somewhat of a higher drop rate just because of the variations and things that they're doing now. But you never know. But you're already a veteran. You already know where you can find a weapon in the game. You already know where all the weapon caches are. If you don't, you can use the Division 2 map, and that's going to be more of a valuable resource, even in my opinion, because those caches are going to be free gear just laying around the corner. So making a trip around the open world and opening all those caches by themselves will be even worth more doing, especially in this new system that's coming along. So I hope that was kind of helpful. I hope that shed some light on some of these things. And I guess that's pretty much my own opinion currently. We'll see when everything drops and have a better view of the entire system. So I want to hear what you think in the comment section. I hope this kind of provided a bit of clarity for some people. And I guess I'll see you in my next video. Peace.